Hi everyone, my name is Suneet. So this will be the agenda for today's session. So basically we will understand what is a virtual machine, what is a virtual network, what is a virtual network and its components, and then we will be doing the hands-on. Okay. So one thing here is it's like we can create a virtual machine. Virtual machine as in you are just renting out the physical machine. Okay, creating a virtual machine as in you are just renting out the physical machine, and then you have the privilege or you have the full control over that virtual machine, like what kind of operating system you want to have, or if you want to deploy your own things. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what is a virtual machine. So it's like we say additional operating system running on current machine, right? That's nothing but a virtual machine. But when it comes to Azure, right, it's like you're creating a machine as if it's your own, right? So let's look at the formal and the technical definition of it. So basically in computing, a virtual machine is nothing but an emulation of a computer system, right? It's the same, it's like it's your laptop, okay? Virtual machines are based on computer architecture and provide functionality of a physical computer. Their implementation may involve specialized hardware, software, or a combination, okay? So now when we are creating a virtual machine on Azure, right, you will feel as if you are working on your laptop, right? So it's a virtual machine. So now virtual networks, as in we will be creating a network and then machines will be able to talk to each other within the same network, right? So as in the technical definition of virtual network says that it acts as a communication channel between resources launched in the cloud, right? Now let's say that you do have two virtual machines, okay? Let's say virtual machine 1 and virtual machine 2. So if both the virtual machines are connected to the same virtual network, or if both the virtual machines are there in the same virtual network, so if you log into this machine and if you say ping this machine, right, you'll start getting the responses. Okay, so as in these two machines will be able to talk to each other, right? So we will see that in today's session. But yeah, virtual network as in the machines within the virtual network will be able to communicate to each other, right? Or what we say technically, we say that it will be acting as a communication channel between resources launched in the cloud. Why are we saying virtual? Because there are no physical wires involved in connecting these resources, right? So that's why we say that it's nothing but it's a virtual network. Okay. Now, what is a virtual network? So basically, Azure Virtual Network, right? It's a representation of your own network in the cloud. As in, you have, like I told you, right? You have, let's say that you have created a virtual network, and in that virtual network, you are creating two virtual machines. So those two machines will be able to talk to each other. Or it's like when you are creating a virtual network, it's nothing but it's a representation of your own network in the cloud. It's a representation of your own network in the cloud, and it is a logical isolation of the Azure cloud dedicated to your subscription. So subscription and something we'll see today. Okay. But it's like you are logically isolating your resources. Okay. Then what do we have? We do have subnets, right? So now each virtual network can be divided into subparts as well. So what do we have? We do have Azure subnets. So as in each virtual network, right? Again, it can be divided into subparts, and these are nothing but the subnets, right? And subnets are further configured using network security group. So this is nothing but a virtual network. So now what is happening? It's like we are dividing this into subparts. This is subnet 1, this is subnet 2, this is subnet 3. And then again we can have network security groups. Okay. So now network, what is this network security group? So guys, this network security group is nothing but it's like a firewall, right? As in which will be filtering the traffic coming in and going out of your virtual machines, right? We are saying that we are creating a virtual network and all the machines within the same virtual network will be able to talk to each other, right? So now what we have, it's like we do have network security groups which are nothing but like firewall. So they will see that okay, what kind of data is coming in and going out. Okay. So now this is the virtual network. Inside the virtual network, what do we have? We do have a subnet, right? So what we are doing, we are splitting this virtual network into subnet. And then what do we have? We do have a network security group, and this network security group is nothing but it's a firewall, right? It will be filtering the data. So now let me do the hands-on. So this is what we'll be doing. First of all, we will be creating a network security group. First of all, we'll create a network security group. Then we will be creating a virtual network. Okay, and then we will be creating two virtual machines, and then we will see how two virtual machines, like if those two virtual machines can talk to each other or not. Okay, so let me quickly go to this Azure portal. So this is how Azure UI looks like. Okay. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to create a network security group, right? And how do you create a group? So basically you will go to create resources and it says that, okay, tell me what do you want to do. So I'm saying that I am interested in creating a network security group. So you have each and everything on this Azure portal. The only thing is you need to know like what do you need specific to your requirement. Okay. So if you click on create a resource, right, it will say tell me what do you want to create. So if you have anything to do related, with the AI and the machine learning, right? These are the things, right? Then let's say that you talk about compute. So let's say that you are interested in creating a virtual machine. It says that yes, a virtual machine can be created. Now, if you are interested in creating a database, again, these are the things which can be created. Okay. So when it comes to the storage, right? So again, there are different options available for storage. So based on your need or based on your requirement, you can choose. Okay. So the main important thing is to understand like what you should be using for your requirement. So let's create a network security group. Okay. So it says create. Okay. So now what I need to do is it is asking me like tell me what is the name which you want to give, right? So now let's say I am saying demo webinar 2. Okay. Now this is the subscription. Subscription as in everything will be charged for this subscription. So here I'm using uh, the free trial one. Okay, and then this is the resource group. So resource group as in all the resources, doesn't matter if it is a storage account or if it is a virtual machine or if it is something related to AI and ML, they all will belong to this resource group. Okay, so if you do not have any, you can always click on create new. Okay, so as in you are just logically separating your resources and you are giving a name and you are saying that all my resources will belong to this resource group. Now let's say if I talk about dev, UAT and prod, right? So for those three, we can have different resource group, right? So that we can easily differentiate that these resources belong to dev or these resources belong to UAT or prod, right? So this resource group is nothing but it's a logical separation, right? So now what I am doing, I am creating a network security group, which is by the name of Demo Webinar 2. So now if you click on create, right, what it will be doing, it will start creating. So it will take some time. So let's wait. Validation successful. Now it is saying deployment in progress, right? So now these are the resources, right? So it says deployment in progress. Okay. After that, what you need to do is, so once you have created a security group, right? Now what you need to do is you need to create a virtual network, right? What you need to do is you need to create a virtual network. So here it says that deployment succeeded. So this is the network security group. And now for this network security group, right, you can see the overview, you can see the properties. It says this is the resource group name, correct. This is the location as in data for this will go to the data center which is present in East US. Then you see the inbound security rule, outbound security rule. Now, if you want to restrict the access, so it says access control, right? You can say that this user should be given the read-only access or the owner access or the contributor access. Those kind of things can be managed. And also, if you are interested in, Modifying the inbound or outbound security rules, you can add any rule or you can change any rule. Then we do have network interfaces, right? Then we do have subnets. So as of now, we don't have anything, right? So let's go here and let's create a virtual network now. Okay. So guys, once you start working on it, right, you'll understand that creating something is not very difficult. It's very, very easy to use. Okay. So now let's create this virtual network. Okay. So when you say virtual, right, these are the things which you can create. You can create a virtual network gateway, WAN, virtual machine scale set, right? So, but what we are interested in doing, we are interested in creating a virtual network. Okay. So if you click on the documentation, right, it will take you to the official website of Microsoft. So now let's click on create. Okay, before that, why to create a virtual network? It is clearly saying that you can use virtual network to extend your data set, build a distributed application, build distributed applications as an, so whatever machines will be there in the same virtual network, right? They'll be able to talk to each other. So when it comes to the distributed applications, right, we want that communication should happen between among the machines, right? So that's nothing but as in for the distributed applications, you will be creating the virtual network. And also it says remotely debug your applications. Like once we have created a VM, right? So we can do the RDP to the other machine or we can ping and we can see what is happening, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's create a virtual network. Okay, so now you need to give a name, right? So let's say I am saying, okay, now this is the address space, let it be the default. Now resource group, right? So what is the resource group? Webinar demo, right? Location is East US. Now here you need to give the subnet name as well. Okay, so here I'll give virtual network. Oh, I'll give virtual network and here I will give virtual subnetwork. Oh no. Okay, let me just copy. Okay, virtual subnetwork. So now DOS, is that needed? Okay. So basically, for each and everything you'll be charged. So now if you say that, okay, you need DOS protection and if you click on standard, right, prices will increase. So that's what we discussed, that you need to pay for whatever you're using. Okay. So you can get all the features. The only thing is cost will start increasing. Okay. But here we are saying basic, right? So now let's create this virtual network. Okay. Can you show the supported? Yeah, it's succeeded, right? So yeah, this is the address space. Okay, so now if you go to the, this is the address range. Okay, so you have all the, whatever you want to change here, you can. It will show you the logs. I think we talked about this Azure application in operation insight, right? This is what it is. So here you will get the data, you can run the query and it will give you the result. Okay. Then it will show you the connected devices, like what all devices are connected to this, what are the subnets. Okay, this is the subnet. Then what is this firewall rules? Okay, no firewall exists in this virtual network as of now. Then service endpoints, properties, everything can be specified. Okay. So now if you go to the diagram, it will show you the connectivity, but as of now, we don't have anything, right? So here we do have a virtual network and then we do have a virtual subnetwork, right? So now let's do one thing. Let's create a virtual machine. So what we will be doing, we will be creating two virtual machines. Okay. I'll go to compute. Okay. And I'll say virtual machine. So what is the resource group name? Resource group name is webinar demo, right? And here I need to give the virtual machine name. I am saying Sun VM1. Okay. This is the virtual machine name I am giving. This is the reason. This is the availability option. So now guys, you know what we are saying? We are saying no infrastructure redundancy is required, as in if something goes wrong, right, what you need is you always need a backup, right? What you need is you always need a backup. So as in you can say that okay, data should get redundant locally or to the availability zone or to the availability set. As in again, we do have a different options where we can say that data should get redundant locally, as in within the same data center, or it should be there on the different data center or things like that. Okay, but whatever you choose, right, cost will start increasing. Now when it comes to the image, right, we will be taking Windows image. Okay, so here you will see Windows Server 2019. Okay, so I'm taking this image, but you see you do have the option to choose Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, Debian, whatever. Okay, so now what you're saying that for this machine, so here what we have is, so basically we are using Windows Server, right? And this is the size, right? Here what we will have one virtual CPU and 3.5 GB of memory, right? Now in here what you need to do is you need to admin rule. So you need to give the username and the password. So let's say I am giving username as this, okay, and password I am giving as, okay, okay. Now here what I need to do is I need to basically, what it says, I need to specify the inbound port rules. It says select which virtual network port are accessible from public networks. So now what we are doing, we are selecting HTTP and RDP. Okay, so we are saying that these things should be allowed, right, over the internet. So now when you select this, right, it says that these ports will be exposed to the internet, right? And it says now you should have firewalls to monitor or to filter the data what is going out or what is coming in. Okay, it says save money. Okay, already have a Windows Server license. Basically if you have a Windows Server license, while creating the virtual machine you can use the same license. Okay, now next, disk. So now it says that for this virtual machine, what kind of disk you need. Okay, so for this you can leave this as it is. Okay, so for disk you can leave this as it is. Let me just do one thing here. For public inbound ports, I think we can let it none. Okay, I think so. Yeah, public inbound port, let's leave it as create a virtual machine. Okay, but let me just, okay, now when we go to the disk, right, we can leave the default thing. So we are saying this operating system disk will be of type premium SSD. So we do have again options there. So you need to know what is the difference between premium, standard, and others, right? Let's go to networking. Yeah, right. So now this is where you need to say, okay. So here what you are saying, basically virtual network, we have created it by the name of webinar demo, right? VNet. This was a subnet. And now for the public IP address, again, what we can do is we can leave it by default. Okay, it is reading. So now when it comes to the public inbound ports, right, here what we need to do is we need to say allow selected ports. So if we are doing it here, then we can go to the basic and we can change that. None. Okay, next disk, next networking. So here for networking, like for intercommunication, right? So we are selecting it to true. And we are saying that these ports should be allowed. Okay, load balancing, again, if you say that if there is more load, or let's say that you're saying that you don't know how much load it will be getting tomorrow, so you want it to load balancing on its own, you can select this option. Again, you'll have to pay more. Okay, So now for management, you can leave it default. Now for monitoring, right? Boot diagnostic, on guest diagnostic, and diagnostic storage account. So basically where the data will be stored for this. So if you click on create new, right? If you have created a storage account, right? So what you can do is it's like you can create a new one, otherwise you can leave it default, right? So I'm saying that okay, or let's say I'm giving it name as this is the storage account. So now for all these things, right, we can leave the default like identity, whether it should be managing an identity or not, auto shutdown, backup, right? If you click on backup, right, it will say like what kind of backup you need. What is the policy? Is it a daily or what is that? Okay. But again, if you use it right, you'll have to pay. Next, advanced, right? So here now it's like we are done and we don't need to make any change here. So tags again, it's like you can say tags as in to in order to differentiate or in order to know, let's say that we are saying that this belongs to team one, so you can give a tag there. So now review and create. When you do review and create, it will be doing the validation and it is showing the price. It is saying that this is a subscription, this is the price. It's like every hour you'll have to pay 7.73 rupees. Okay. So as in now you can use it as your own laptop. So every hour you'll be paying 7 rupees. Again, if you change something, right, the price will increase. So now create. Okay. Now meanwhile, let's do one thing. Let's create one more VM. Resource group was a webinar demo, right? Virtual machine name Sun VM2. Okay. Let it be default. Windows Server 2019, right? Now here I can give the okay and fine. Let it be the default. Next. Desk default. Next. Networking. It's already taking. Right? Here you need to allow and you need to say HTTP and RDP. Right? And then next, management default. Here it's already taking the storage account which we had created. It's fine. Next, advanced. Next, tags, review and create. Let it create. Meanwhile, what we will do is we will connect the VM. We will connect to a VM from the internet. Okay. So now let's go to the resources. Let's just go to all resources and what was the name? Sun VM, right? This Sun VM1. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to connect to it from the internet. So for that, what we need to do is this is the option you see, right? Connect. So you are saying that you are interested in getting connected to this virtual machine. So let's say connect. Okay. So it's now in order to connect, right? What you need to do is you need to download this RDP file. Okay. You need to download this RDP file. So I have connected this RDP file. So now when you click on this, right, it will ask you the username and password which you had given while creating this virtual machine. So this is not the account, right? So I had given the username as Sun, right? And I'll give the password. Okay, there is a problem in the password. Let me just do it again. Right? So this is your machine. So it's like you can use it as your personal laptop. So like you need to pay around 7 rupees per hour, and it's like you can delete this resource whenever you want. Okay. Now here you'll see everything. Okay, so it's like your laptop now. Okay, that's why we say that it's very easy to do things in Azure or in AWS, within minutes everything will be up. So now it's not that the developers need to wait for the setup to be ready. You see how easy it is, right? Now what we need to do is we need to talk to the other machine, right, which we had created. So let's do one thing. Let me open the PowerShell and then we'll do ping. Okay. Here I'll say ping sun VM2. That was the name, right? If I'm not wrong. Now here you'll see request timeout. I'll tell you why. We need to set one rule to true. Okay. So it's like we were not able to connect. So the point is the ping is failing because ping uses the ICMP. Okay. And by default, ICMP isn't allowed through the Windows firewall. So now what you'll have to do is, so it's like to allow to ping to, other VM, what we need to do is we need to set one rule to true. And what is that rule? So basically we'll say new net firewall rule, and it says display name allow, okay, ICMP v4 in, then what is the protocol? P is capital. Protocol, correct. Then here we need to say ICMP v4. Okay. So new net firewall rule display name allow ICMP4 in, then protocol ICMP4. Okay. So now what it has done is it has set it to true, right? What it has done is it has set it to true. Now what we need to do is basically we'll close this and we'll get connected to VM. Okay, we'll get connected to another VM. Okay. Now if I go to this, I will go to sun VM, refresh. That won't work. Okay. Because we need to set the same thing there as well. Okay. Sun VM2. Now what we need to do is we need to say connect. Okay. Download RDP file. Connect. More choices, right? Different account. It will be okay. Now what I should do is I should open the, okay, let me just you see you have started getting the reply, right? So here you see we are getting the reply. So basically what is happening, machines are able to talk to each other now. Okay. The objective was to show you the creation of the virtual machines and also to show you like how virtual networks would be talking, like how the machines in the same virtual network would be talking to each other. And this concept can be used for implementing the distributed applications. Okay. So now it's like, you have your resources. So what you need to do is if you do not delete these, right, you'll get charged. Because you have reserved this is a storage account, right? So the storage, no, not this. Okay, so yeah, here if you go to the storage account, right, you'll see, right, This is the storage account which we had created, right? So now on this storage account, right, you can keep files, whatever you want, data and all. So here, let's say you say files, right? So here you will be able to keep the files or whatever you want. Okay, then thanks everyone. We are good to wrap up the session. Thanks guys. Thanks for joining. Have a good day ahead. Thank you guys.